Guys, data centers in space are happening, but don't just take my word for it. Listen to what Elon Musk says. He says, quote, in 36 months, probably close to 30 months, the most economically compelling place to put AI will be in space. He is doubling down, tripling down, and putting data centers in space, which at first glance seems completely outlandish. But what's his real master plan with projects like Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, X or Twitter? He's got XAI. How do they all work together? What is the point of having all these projects? We'll get to that in just a moment. First, I want to look at how outlandish this idea of data centers in space seems on the surface. I mean, think about it. Meta announced that they're going to be building Hyperion, a data center in Louisiana that's the size of Manhattan. That is absolutely huge. How could it possibly be feasible to be sending these data centers into space? Again, at first glance, it seems improbable, unlikely, or all my Princess Bride fans out there might say, it seems inconceivable. Anyway, there are some advantages and reasons why this makes sense. So first off, you have unlimited solar energy. Solar is 5 times more powerful in space. There's no atmosphere, there's no clouds, there's no nighttime. Your data centers powered by solar are just rotating around the Earth 24/7, 365, and they are always going to have access to the sun. And because they're close to the sun, they're outside of Earth's atmosphere. Much, much more powerful. The estimates show that generating solar power in space is about 10 times cheaper than on Earth. Very powerful. Additionally, cooling is a lot easier in space. You see, on Earth, one of the largest expenses, in addition to the energy production, is how do you keep these GPUs in these data centers cool? These data centers run so hot. But in space, the heat radiates right into the vacuum, the vacuum of space. So it's a lot cheaper, theoretically, to actually keep these GPUs cool in space. And then on top of that, there is less resistance to data centers in space than there are on Earth. Sure, there's still regulation in space, and governments in the United States are going to have rules about how you can operate in space, but you get past the problem of people. And we've seen this a number of times. If you're subscribed to the channel, you would already know that this is a problem for data centers and builders and tech companies. People don't want these data centers in their backyards. They hum, they draw off the grid, they look ugly. There's a number of reasons. And in fact, we've seen Google and Microsoft lose millions and millions of dollars because data center projects that were planned got pulled back because of community organization pushing back on these projects. So these are some reasons why, when you start to look at this, putting data centers in space to power AI starts to make a lot more sense. But where does this all play to the greater vision? Sure, it's great. We can have LLMs that we can generate cool images, and we can create video, and there's a lot of creativity that goes along with AI. But is there something more to this than having a buddy that you can chat with in an AI, or you can run cheaper ads like on ChatGPT, we've got ChatGPT ads coming very soon. Anyway, I digress. Does Elon have something more in mind than just this? Well, when you start looking at all the pieces of his puzzle, it starts to become more clear. He has said on multiple times, and I'll quote here, becoming multiplanetary is critical to ensuring the long-term survival of humanity and all life as we know it. That, my friends, is his plan. He's constantly talking about going to Mars. His goal is to make human life interplanetary, so that we are not just living on Earth, but we are living on different planets, and we are exploring the universe. It's kind of all my Star Trek geek friends out there will probably be excited by that idea. I think it's pretty cool. Would I want to go live on Mars? It's probably not going to happen in my lifetime, but my kids or my grandkids, maybe. I do, just as a side note, have a pact with my daughter that we will go to outer space together. So one day we're going to travel to outer space. So I'm excited about that. I'd love to walk on the moon. That would be pretty cool. Regardless, I'm getting a little bit off topic. Back to Elon and his goal of being interplanetary. So that's his goal. He's been pretty outspoken about that. I just shared a quote from him. We can all agree on that, right? Cool. If you agree, tap the like button. Data centers in space, in his world, is not just about a cheap large language model, it's a fundamental building block on the idea of being interplanetary. And to expand on that, another big piece of news that happened just this past week, or in the past several weeks, is that SpaceX, which is an Elon company, SpaceX acquired xAI in a $1.25 trillion valuation. And what this does is it combines AI expertise with rocket launching and catching experience. If you're gonna be multiplanetary, you need to have the best AI, and you obviously need to be able to send rockets to space. There was a point last year which, if you saw this, it was absolutely mind-blowing. Elon's company, SpaceX, was able to catch a spaceship from space coming back down. This rocket coming back down and landing. Now, historically, that didn't happen. Historically, you shoot a rocket up, you're never gonna get that rocket back again. It's done. But by catching it, they were able to reduce the cost of space travel tremendously, fundamental to what he's trying to do. SpaceX, huge building block. Combine that with xAI, another huge building block. But it doesn't just end there. You see, once you start to put all these pieces together, it starts to make sense. The next part of his master plan is Tesla Optimus, these humanoid Optimus robots. He claims that these robots are going to be 10x or more valuable than his electric vehicle companies. When you think about Tesla, you think about electric vehicles. That's not what Elon's thinking about. He's thinking about Optimus robots. In fact, they recently discontinued the Model S and the Model X. Why? So they could prepare for mass production of Optimus. They have a target of producing 1 million Tesla Optimus bots annually. 1 million bots annually. Guys, this is like, did you ever just sit back and think we live in the most insane, dynamic time in human history? In our lifetime, we're gonna see Tesla robots and figure 3 robots. We're gonna see humanoid robots walking around, mowing the lawn, doing the dishes, doing laundry, working in manufacturing plants. It's completely insane to me. You're gonna have cars that drive themselves. They already exist. Guys, this stuff already exists. This is not science fiction. We're not talking about the Jetsons. This stuff actually exists. If you would have told me 30 years ago that this would have happened in my lifetime, I'd said, you're nuts. And it's here, right now. So crazy. Let's continue here. What he says is that everyone's gonna want your own Tesla Optimus bot. It's gonna be a little buddy, it's gonna work at home. But there's a bigger purpose to these Optimus bots. I don't think it's about just money for Elon. You can put it in below. I mean, he is the world's richest man, but at a certain point, like, don't you want something more than just more money? Maybe, depends on, what drives you or your personality. Regardless, what's really key here to this grand plan is that these Tesla Optimus bots are gonna be built in order to explore and build in harsh terrains, like the terrain on Mars. You can't just send a bunch of humans to Mars. They're gonna burn up. There's all sorts of issues there. But robots, you could easily send robots. You could send robots into the data centers in space, and you could send these robots on missions to planets like Mars. Tesla Optimus serves that purpose. But it doesn't just end there, guys. Let's say all this works out. You've got the rockets, you've got the data centers, you've got the AI, you've got the Optimus robots, you've got all this. There's still a big gap there. How do you get it all to talk together? How do you get to communicate together? How do you, on Earth, understand what's going on in space? Well, that's where Starlink comes in, another Elon Musk company. Starlink is the world's most advanced satellite constellation using a low Earth orbit to deliver broadband internet capable of supporting streaming, online gaming, video calls, and more. There it is, and more. Guys, there are already 9,000 Starlink satellites in space right now. And there's been examples of Starlink being really powerful here on Earth, able to get people in Ukraine internet access, able to get people in Iran internet access. I'm seeing videos of people gaming in Antarctica. Like, this is crazy stuff. You can get internet basically anywhere in the world, very cheap, using Starlink. But it doesn't just end there. This is the connective glue, guys, that holds all the communication together. Now you have communication here on Earth, but you can also use Starlink and shoot it up the opposite way. Well, now you can have communication on the moon, on Mars. You can have this huge connectivity amongst all these satellites. Guys, at first, when you see what Elon Musk is doing, and you look at his portfolio of companies. Oh, quick note, by the way, the other thing that I think is interesting here is the acquisition of Twitter, which happened a few years and now is known as X. That's important because, you know, in order to, when you're doing huge projects like this, you also need to be able to control narrative. You also need to have a way of communicating via media. And by owning X, he has a lot of ownership and he's able to put his finger on the pulse of what's happening in the global conversation, political conversation. You might like or dislike that. That's besides the point. This is another piece, that connective glue, being able to communicate with humans, being able to own the narrative, be able to own messaging, you know, whether or not it's for free speech or not. I mean, I tend to lean on he is a big proponent of free speech, but I could see the argument for he wants to control speech too by owning X. You could make that argument. I'd be open to that. Regardless, it does serve a big role in his goal of becoming interplanetary, sending people to Mars. You need to be able to form and converse and create public opinion. And quite frankly, in the past world, if you said the wrong thing, if you pissed the wrong people off, you could just get banned from social media, which it would really push him back. It would move him away from his mission of shooting these things into space and becoming interplanetary. So again, when you first look at all these different projects, all these different acquisitions, it looks completely scattered. It looks completely nuts. It looks completely insane to be able to do all these things at once. But once you start to put the pieces together, all of a sudden you say, oh my goodness, it all fits together perfectly. It's a perfect puzzle for that master plan of becoming interplanetary and sending people to Mars. And I just want to highlight this because I think it serves as an example of what an insanely dynamic time that we live in, guys. There's so much change. Things that we never dreamed of possible are happening right now. And what does that mean? It means that there's going to be a lot of new opportunities. And, you know, for the people that have been subscribed to the channel for a while and you're following along, by the way, there are now thousands of you and I'm glad that you're here. The problems that we've been solving in the past are not the problems that we're going to be solving in the future. They're going to be new problems. They're going to need new solutions and new leaders like you and me. And I'm excited. I'm scared, but I'm excited for all the new opportunities. And I'm glad that you're here and engaging in the comments and finding your people, because there's a lot to be scared of, but there's a lot to be excited about. And when you start talking about how AI is going to impact your world and my world, how data center constructions and where the opportunity is going to be, there's going to be a lot of new stuff that happens. A lot of new opportunity, and it's on us to stay relevant, respected, and financially free by building onto these different ideas and building each other up. Guys, if you like today's video, make sure you give it a like, leave a comment, and you definitely check out yesterday's video where we talk about Salesforce firing another several hundred, maybe 1,000 people. But why? Guys, AI is taking over. You got it, but not for the reason you might think. Salesforce is interesting. They're firing people, maybe because of AI, but not because of what you think. You gotta check out yesterday's video. Check it out, and I'll see you there. All right, boys. See ya. Peace.